Jupiter is in the first degree of Aries today, and for a few days, going backwards. It started its journey by entering Aries way back in May 2022. And it came forward until July, and it's been going retrograde since July. And now it's in the first degree of Aries again. It'll go back into Pisces and then forward again, so that December again we have the first degrees of Aries. So we have May, now, and December when Jupiter is in this first Sabian symbol. And of course the first Sabian symbol has particular importance. So I'll read from Marc and Edmund Jones to get the first official word on the topic, as it were. A woman rises out of water. A seal rises and embraces her. This is a symbol of completely unconditioned potentiality, and this may be grasped on the practical side of life. Here are elements of soul emerging from primordial non-existence and of essentially feminine receptivity, calling up a more masculine or personal and self-seeking initiative. There is an implicit emphasis on the mutual interdependence of the emotional and purposeful aspects of self. The keyword is realization. When positive, the degree is an illimitability of experience, of which anyone can take advantage under any or all circumstances. And when negative, a failure to find a place in life, because the self cannot separate itself from its own private obsessions. There's so much in that. The sense that here we have the feminine mystery presented first, calling up the masculine. The woman is arising out of the sea and calls up a seal, a very phallic image of seal. And she might not stay. She might just sink back down into the collective unconsciousness. And this she we're talking about, the woman, is within us all. This is our yearning to be. And it's a feeling first, according to this. What we're talking about is not only existence itself, in that we have a physical body and an identity. It's much more than that. It's the seed of any idea. And Jupiter is trying to germinate that seed. But first you have to have a real clear sense of what the seed of your idea is. What do you want? You can't have it unless you know what you want. That's how it works. So Rudhyar speaks like this. A woman just risen from the sea. A seal is embracing her. The emergence of new forms and of the potentiality of consciousness. This is the first of the 360 phases of a universal and multi-level cyclic process, which aims at the actualization of a particular set of potentialities. The actualization of potentiality, that's the secret he's focusing on. These potentialities in the Sabian symbols refer to the development of man's individualized consciousness, the consciousness of being an individual person, with a place and a function or a destiny in the planetary organism of the earth and in a particular type of human society and culture. We're just looking to find our place. To be individually conscious means to emerge out of the sea of generic and collective consciousness, which to the emerged mind appears to be unconsciousness. Such an emergence is the primary event. It is the result of some basic action, a leaving behind, an emerging from a womb or matrix, here symbolized by the sea. Such an action is not to be considered a powerful, positive statement of individual being. In the beginning is the act, but it is often an imperceptible, insecure act. The small, tender germ out of the seed does not loudly proclaim its existence. It has to pierce through the crust of the soil, still covered with the remains of the past. It is all potentiality and a minimum of actual presence. We are greater and greater in confidence as we become clearer and clearer about who we are and what we're doing. It's observable. Children don't have that level of confidence. Babies, none. What we're discussing here is the birthing of something, like an idea, out of the unconsciousness, which wasn't actually unconscious at all. We see it that way, but there is consciousness even within the ocean of collectivity. So the ideas that we pick up on exist, and they're aware of themselves on some strange and subtle level, and they have to emerge through a person or a group of people in order to have expression in ordinary life. And so any one of us, in fact each of us really, can pick up on that collective sense of what needs to happen next to fulfill the certainty, the destiny of history. And we can give voice to it. And when we give voice to it, we in a sense, we make our mark, we stake our claim, we take our stand, we move into a position. And that's what first degree of Aries is about. But it's not by any means certain that we can hold that position. And isn't this true of things that we do? We have a go at something, and we're enthusiastic about it and intentional about it, and yet that's not necessarily what we do. It's almost true to say it's necessarily not what we do, because there are so many things that can go wrong. I am now in autumn, and I have oak trees in my garden, and by the thousand the acorns are falling everywhere. And I know from experience that of the 1,000 or so, a dozen will germinate and become seedlings and then saplings. How many of them will actually become oak trees? Not many. 1, 2, maybe a dozen over my lifetime, out of that thousands of acorns every year. Now that's what we are doing with our ideas and our spontaneous motivations and initiatives. There's 1,000 of them every season, and most of them just feed squirrels. But some of them germinate and give you a hope for the possibility of a life direction, and maybe one will become your life direction. Now, how to choose which of those many will become real, that comes later. That starts the process of the second degree of Aries. But what we're discussing now with Jupiter in his first degree of Aries is when you shine the light of Jupiter on something, it becomes doable. Confidence, optimism. Yeah, I can overcome all of that. I can do that. That's what Jupiter is. It's what it is within us. It's not only what it says, shall we say, anthropomorphically. It's what it is. Jupiter within us is that urge to see potential as realizable. And without that, how can the seed be germinated even, let alone grow to become anything big? But with that, it can. So Jupiter is shining the light of confidence that your ideas can come to pass. Now maybe you had an idea in May of this year, and you tried it out, and you had some difficulties, and yet the idea was good, and you forgot about it. Nothing happened. Well, Jupiter going retrograde now will have another look at that idea, that potential idea for where you're going next in your life, and will be concerned to make sure that that which has been thrown out as unworkable does not include a baby with that bathwater, as it were. Jupiter is coming back at your ideas that you may have had in May and saying, well, okay, look, that one's good. The rest of them maybe not, but that one I remember is good. That's its function in the retrogradation period. And then very soon, when it comes to December, it will be going forward into the future. It won't ever return here again until it's completed its 12-year cycle. So whatever ideas you had in May and you're having another look at now, you're going to be getting going on them, making them real come December. And that'll take you into a 12-year cycle of personal development and growth. That's the fundamental idea. So I've put these words together myself out of the other two masters. A woman rises out of water, a seal rises and embraces her. The recognition of potential. Everything existing has had its first beginnings in the realm of potentiality, the ghost of an idea not formed, neither expressed nor explicit, yet in seed form containing the unconscious potential for mature realization. Most seeds, not germinated, fail to realize their potential. In the beginning, to become an individual, we need to emerge from the sea of the collective unconsciousness, to leave the womb. First, the desire is simply to be, because it is still far from certain whether survival itself can be attained. Now, this is something that really does need an underlining. If you want something to happen, you have to know what it is you want to have happen. Mostly, we don't get what we want simply because we don't know what we want. We don't define it to ourselves. We don't announce it to someone else. We don't write it down. And maybe we should, because when you do those things, when you become specific and clear about your intention, it becomes much more powerful and much more likely to come to pass than if you don't do that. So with the confidence of Jupiter, we can look at our ideas and know that they can become real if we're clear about them and move towards manifestation.